Please pray with me. May these words that I speak be grounded in my soul, encouraged by the God presence in me. And may these words that you hear be captured by your soul, enlivened by the God presence in you. Amen. What does it mean to be heart-centered? To live a heart-centered life and to become a heart-centered community. These are big questions, and for me, central questions to understanding what might ground both our individual lives and this community. Ground us in ways that set us apart from the mainstream culture and systems. And it is not about creating a commune that removes us from the rest of the world, but is rather a way of walking in the world more deeply grounded, more resilient to all the slings and arrows, and more able to be the light we are born to be. Our world is in such great need of light and love because too many of the big decisions are head-centered. And equally, too many of our responses to those decisions thrust upon us are also head-centered. And by this I mean that we tend to live from a practical, what's best for us kind of place, rather than considering how so many decisions produce tragic results for others, human and other than human. Heart-centered decisions for me are decisions that are made that value life and honor all life regardless of the cost. A couple of examples of the difference for me between head-centered and heart-centered are these. Head-centered decisions severely restrict and control the number of refugees we welcome out of fear, where a heart-centered decision would welcome and support as many as possible out of love. Head-centered decisions mean we buy Folgers coffee and cage-raised chickens because it saves us money, where a heart-centered decision would cause us to eat and drink in ways that are life-giving for other people and other creatures. Democracy is failing everywhere because we have lost the ability as individuals and as communities and as nations to be heart-centered. All the education and all the professionalism in the world will not bring us to a better place. In the words of English writer John Ruskin, it is only, he says, it is only when love and skill work together that you can expect a masterpiece. So what does it mean for us here? I believe that it is in communities like this one that we need to practice living heart-centered rather than head-centered. It doesn't mean that we don't think anymore, but it does mean that we choose to make decisions that engage our hearts as much as our heads. Brian McLaren writes, "For centuries, Christianity has presented itself as an organized religion, a change-averse institution." It sounds like head-centered decisions to me. That protects and promotes a timeless system of beliefs that were handed down fully formed in the past. Yet, he says, Christianity's actual history is a story of constant change and adaptation. What might happen if we understood the core Christian ethos as creative, constructive, and forward-leaning, as an organizing religion that challenges all institutions, including its own, to learn, to grow, and to mature toward a deepening, enduring relationship with God, with self, with neighbor, with enemy, and creation. This way of being in community, heart-centered and love-driven, is what the burning bush is all about in the Francis Dorff piece that Bev read. We have become so focused on the baggage and the camel that we have lost our connection to the real work of the Spirit. Parker Palmer offers this. Community is a place where the connections felt in our hearts, make themselves known in the bonds between people, and where the tuggings and pullings of those bonds keep opening our hearts. In other words, a head-centered community has a business plan and a belief system with clear limits. A heart-centered community is willing to risk everything for love. This is the central message of the reading from James this morning. For if any are hearers and not doers, they are like those who look at themselves in a mirror and on going away immediately forget what they are like. But those who look into the law of love and persevere, they will be blessed in their doing. And so let's move from our heads, which is what I'm forcing you to do by talking at you, to our hearts in one of the ways that we know how to do that best. I want us to sing and just stay comfortable. And I invite you to sing along with this song that says, when we look with hearts open, we see that love is everywhere. The real food that nourishes us and gives us life. This is Walk with Love. Love is here, love is there, everywhere, there in care. Love is yours, love is mine, all the time. There's a sign. Love is whole, love is free. Can't you see? Look at me. Spirit of life, make me be. Talk with love and you'll feel your spirit grow. Walk in love and you'll know. Love is here, love is there, everywhere, there in care. Love is yours, love is mine, all the time. There's a sign. Love is whole, love is free. Can't you see? Look at me. Spirit of life, make me be. Living love will help us see what it means for all to be. Gentle kindness is the way that we will all know some. wrote that piece originally in 1994. Wow. And it was for a musical about the early Christian communities, and this song was the communion song. And the actors actually served each other communion in the midst of singing this. And that's why I wanted to use it today as we move into communion in a few moments, to recognize the centrality of relationship in that act. Richard Wagamese, Ojibwe Canadian, offers these words in his book, Embers. We approach our lives on different trajectories, each of us spinning in our own separate, shining orbit. What gives this life its resonance is when those trajectories cross and we become engaged with each other for as long or as fleetingly as we do. There's a shared energy then, and it can feel as though the whole universe is in the process of coming together. I live for those times. No one is ever truly just passing through. Every encounter has within it the power of enchantment if we are willing to look for it. May this be a place where we look for it as heart-centered community.